Okay?
Yep.
And we'll go over to our frame select, and that'll take us to our frame settings. Okay. Now up here is where your selection is. If it's on no, then it is on an open field. If you go in here and you pick one of the presets, then it'll center out to that preset. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the square one up, which I usually go from smallest to largest. So this would be the 4th largest. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pick D. And the first thing I do is I go to frame type, and I choose whether it's a circle or a rectangle. Excuse the tape. Okay, so up in the top you have the first 2 settings, which are center, and then you have the next 2 settings, which are size. I'll start off with the center. Okay, now X means left to right, just like on a grid. What we need to do here is we need to figure out which parameter, which setting is going to center my frame left to right. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just give you an idea of how this works. I'm going to go here and punch 20, and I'm going to go to Y, which is front to back, and I'm going to punch 50. Now these are millimeters, okay? And I'm going to press the check mark, and I'm going to go to D. Okay, notice with those settings, notice where it's centering. That's not where we want it.
Correct.
We want it to center somewhere else. So let's go over to 150, and let's do 100 here. Notice the difference? Okay. Now remember, this is my center, and just to give you a better visual, I'm going to go to needle 1. So if you notice Y, this is the center line for Y. We're basically good front to back. We just need to get it over a little bit more side to side. Okay, so we'll go back here, go to our frame select, D, so X, so let's try 200. Okay, a little bit over, a little bit too much. You want to go back. Now here's the great thing about this. Once you find your center on your frame, it's going to be the same center for all these frames. Okay? One way that I check. Let me turn this off. No. One way that I check is by. So, looks good there. My center's good there. And it was good front to back. So, go to frame select, go to D. So 180 and X and 100 and Y seem to do our center just fine, okay?
So that would be like almost the standard on every machine then.
This is a Pro, the one you have is a Gen, you have the encoders. So the settings might be a little bit different. They might be off by a few here and there because it's more precise on that machine. But you can start here and work your way there. Okay. I don't have a Gen here. We're waiting on a new order. We ran out of stock. They're flying like hotcakes. And hopefully we'll have something in the next couple of weeks. But those 2, try them. You have them recorded. Try 180 and 100 to see if the gem works. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 150 on the gem. 100 on top, 50 at the bottom. But you see how it basically works. You have to give it 2 coordinates for it to find its center. And these are going to be those 2 center are going to be the same for all these hoops. Because no matter what size the hoop is, since the brackets are the same, your center is going to be the same thing.
Yep.
Now here comes a difference between the hoop sizes. That's going to be your size. Now this is in millimeter. These hoops are 11.5 by 11.5. Let's see if I have a little converter here. You're basically close to 12 inches square. Now what I do is I always bring the size down. Why? Because the size, these are 12 by 12 hoops physically. They're about 11.5 sewing fields. So what I do is I don't give it the actual hoop size in there. I give it less so it stops the foot before it hits the frame. Now the cool thing about that is you could set it really far off to make it safe for the customer, or you could explain it to the customer and then they can decide how close they want to get to the frame. And that, what I do is when people want to do this, I always keep it about 1 inch away and I play it safe. And I let them know how this works and say, look, if you need all the area in the hoop, then this is how you do it. But, if something happens to the machine, you're be in trouble.
But you know, it's a strong machine because I hit something,
Yeah,
the
no.
cap thing.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even worry about it. I've had these machines pierce these hoops, and I haven't been able to get the needle out. I have to take apart the hoop and then use pliers to pull the needles out.
Yeah. But it's good to have the customer scared
Oh, yeah.
of a repair because
Of course. And I've been getting these what's it called, scam likely calls. I don't know if you've gotten any of those. Scam likely. I'm like, wow. Okay.